education in the diaspora. If you are new here, this is the platform where wonderful people who have studied abroad share their experiences, and sometimes they give us tips about how we can apply for schools and scholarships. Today, we have a very special guest here. Yeah, I am so very much impressed with her profile. My guest here is a vaccinologist and currently works with vaccines program team of the Clinton Health Access Initiative, where she supports low-middle income countries on new vaccine introduction and supply chain management. She received an European Union scholarship to undertake a master's in international vaccinology, jointly conferred by 4 European universities. Autonomous University of Barcelona in Spain, University of Antwerp in Belgium, University of Claude Bernard in Lyon, France University of Saint-Etienne, also in France. Yeah, and this is what we are going to talk about today. But it doesn't end here. My guest here participated in training and projects in human and animal vaccines project management, introduction of new vaccines and vaccine manufacturing, procurement and regulatory processes at GlaxoSmithKline in Belgium, also Sanofi Pasteur in France, and Berenga Ingelheim, also in France. She holds a bachelor's in pharmacology, graduating as the best student in her department at Olabisi Onabanjo University in Nigeria. Previously, she worked in the consumer health business of Bayer Middle Africa and on vaccines development at the Pembride Institute, UK. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest for today is Christiana Fashola. Hello, Christiana.
Hello, Tisha. Hi, Tisha. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you. Welcome to Education in the Diaspora.
Thank you for having me. And I would say you're doing a great job. We are proud of you and well done. Great job. And thank you for bringing this opportunity to Africans at home and also those in the diaspora that are looking at exploring opportunities. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for also honoring my invitation.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for having
me. Yeah. So how is Nigeria?
Nigeria is good. The weather is ash, I must say. It's really.
Hello, Christy, can you hear me?
And yes, I can hear you. Like I said, it's hot down here, and it's the same political temperature, the same political weather. Hopefully, things will get better soon. So it's good to be back home. Yeah.
Yeah, we pray so. We pray that things get better as soon as possible.
Very soon, hopefully, if we all go back home and decide to be leaders in our society, I'm sure it will change, and we all don't stay back outside the country.
Thank you. Amen. Okay, so Christiana, can you tell us about the Erasmus Mundus program?
So the Erasmus Master Scholarship is it's a prestigious integrated program funded by ESCA, the European Union, the European Arts Cultural Group, which is, I would say, it's a coalition of the European Union to sponsor young people who are passionate about a particular field and study in more than minimum of 2 universities or more to gain adequate knowledge in their course of study or in their choice of course.
Oh, okay. So how did you find about this wonderful program?
So I recall while I was in school, my brother, I had a brother who spoke to me about what's it called? Who spoke to me about his friend getting the Erasmus and traveling around the world. And I was like, okay. And he said it's something I should look up. I think I was in my 3rd year in school. And he informed me about it. So I wrote it down. I checked online then and I said, oh, they seem to be traveling around the world, and I love to travel. I love to see the world. I love to explore, and so this would be a good course to explore. So I applied for it. Immediately I finished school. Immediately after we do this first year service. So the very first time I applied, I applied for the Europub Health, which is very competitive. I didn't get admitted into it. So and that was right before immediately I finished school. So I had to retry, I had to prepare. I started working in Nigeria, and I started working with Bayer Middle Africa, and immediately I continued building my CV and working towards all of the requirements to ensure that I don't miss the opportunity again. And voila, I got it. And here I am.
Wow, this is quite inspiring. So you tried it for the first time, and then they didn't accept you. You weren't accepted, but you
Yeah,
didn't give up. And then
no,
you
I
tried the second time, and then you
yeah,
got accepted.
yes, I
So
got admitted. So yeah, so one thing I would say is I went back to the drawing board. So
mhm,
failure is not the end of success. Failure is just saying to yourself, what did I do wrong? Go
yeah.
back, re-strategize, and find out what you have done wrong. So
Mhm,
when I sat down, I was like, okay, my IELTS score wasn't as high as I wanted. I didn't have maybe a volunteer experience in public health, maybe that could boost the CV. So I just found while I was working, I just found maybe like a small NGO I could actually do a community work with. And also I realized, or maybe my statement of purpose I didn't write it well. Also, I
mhm,
had to like ensure that by the time I was rewriting, I had to read more about how to write a winning statement of purpose, a winning SOP. So those are some of the work I had to do within that space of 1 year. Rewrite an IELTS, make sure I get a top score. That's read as hard as I can, as well as ensure that I get a package myself well in terms of sell myself. What have I done? You could have done some things and you didn't put it out there for the professors to be able to see what you've been doing in the past and what you're currently doing. So majorly what I did was ensure that my statement of purpose was really good, better than what previously I've written. Speak to other people that are on other programs, not necessarily the Erasmus programs, but are already
mhm,
there are scholarships in the US or outside the US. And also in Europe, I recall I had to reach out to a friend who was in Bluebird, which is also an Erasmus program in education policy. He's also a Nigerian, and he spoke to me and he gave me advice on how best to write well when the kind of CV format. It has to be an European CV format. So those
mhm.
little things. Those little things go out of the way to ensure that your personal statements and your whole application is really good.
Yeah.
Additionally, yeah, go ahead. But I just wanted to say that it is important if the person is in school. Like when I heard about it, I said I was in the second to third year. It was exactly third year.
Mhm.
I thought I finished with an excellent grade. So if someone is out there and you're still in school, I need you to just read as hard as you can, get that top grade, a second class upper division or a first class if you can, as much as possible. And if you didn't make it, it's not the end of the world. You can definitely make a good
Yeah.
scholarship.
Yeah, because your story is very inspiring. You didn't let the rejection break you, but it made you better. You went back to the drawing board and then you came back stronger, and this time you got accepted.
Yeah.
So we are proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we encourage our viewers to send in their comments. If you have any questions about the Erasmus Mundus program and the scholarships, please send us your questions and Christy will answer them for you. So can you take us through the application process?
Okay, so for the Erasmus program generally, the application process cuts across the same. However, individual programs have some specificity. So for the Erasmus Mundus program, there are several programs. So if you're interested in nanophysics or nanotechnology or in nanoscience, like you studied, there are
Yeah.
courses already in nano. So what Erasmus does is to bring out programs that that would address the world's needs, urgent needs at that particular time. For example, the vaccinology course came out because they felt there was an inadequacy in the number of vaccinologists in the world globally, and we needed vaccines.
I'm sure they saw that COVID-19 was coming, and so we were going to need vaccines, right?
Yes, partly because they know pandemics, but because there's also emerging diseases. There are a lot of emerging diseases that we're
Yeah.
yet to find the cure to, solutions, or preventive strategies to. It's just the general public health measures that are being utilized and being deployed across countries. So, and there's also a master's in infectious diseases for people to be infectious disease experts. I think it's called One Health. So there are several. So first thing first is this: you click on the application. The requirement is an IELTS. Most of them, there are some that do not require an IELTS. They can give you a waiver, and when you get on board, you can write an English exam. I think for masters in women's studies, I'm not sure. I think they allow you that if it's University of Glasgow, you do an English exam when you get into the school. However, for some specific courses like mine, like the Masters in International Vaccinology, you have to do an IELTS. So you have to submit an IELTS. Yes, go ahead.
So, Christy, even if you are coming from an English-speaking country, like you who is from Nigeria, or like me who is from Ghana, we speak English. We've done all our studies in English. Are we still supposed to write the IELTS or?
I'm sorry to say, but that's the position we have found ourselves. It's you have lived in Europe, and we can say that even some of us speaks very good English than the core Europeans. So,
Yeah.
but it's one of the requirements, an IELTS, to say you speak good English. And even if you have studied in an English speaking country like ours, like Nigeria and Ghana, Kenya, and the rest of them, we still have to do an IELTS to submit. However, if you feel convinced, you could just write to the program director or the program administrator and just say, "Hey, I studied in English. I am working in a multinational where they speak English. I know for some schools in the US they do that. They give people waiver, and some UK schools also do give people waiver. However, for most Erasmus programs, particularly if you're not the first cohort, you have to write an IELTS, and they give specific scores. So for writing, maybe you can have a 6.5, for reading a 7, for speaking a 7. So they are like specific. So you just need to acquaint yourself with all of the IELTS materials and register with the British Council or the ID or the MOD. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So I know that with this program you hop from country to country, right? And are you supposed to also know the language of the countries that you study? For example,
So
you studied in Belgium, France, and Spain.
yes, and
Were you
Switzerland.
required to submit a test score in French, in Spanish, and maybe I think Belgium also they speak French. So
Yes.
French and Spanish.
Okay, so part of the requirements, I'm not finished. Apart from the IELTS, you have to ensure that you have your certificates, your transcripts of schools, you have references from lecturers who know you very well and who can speak highly of your research work that you did in your bachelor's and whatever you have done, and ensure that it's people with PhDs, people who are professors, or maybe even if it's not a professor, but someone with a PhD, definitely. So, and you also need to get some identification. So before the program, I would advise, like, by August, people should already search. And one of the key things is not for you to no, they do not desire that you have to submit an English and a language proficiency in Spanish, Flemish, French, or whatsoever. Just come. As you come, you get to speak or learn languages. So during my Erasmus and in Spain, in Barcelona, I had to take the Spanish course. In Belgium, I was in Antwerp, so they don't speak French in Antwerp; they speak Flemish. But in Brussels, Wallonia area, they speak French. But in Bruges, Ghent, Anvers, Antwerp, they speak Flemish. So it's like Belgium is like two entirety. So, but they are still a friendly region, both the French and the Flemish region, the Flanders region. So you don't have to have. I couldn't speak Spanish, But yes, I could speak a little bit of French. My French teacher will say is good. I learned a little bit. So during strikes, because I went to a government school. So during my bachelor's, so during strikes, my mom enrolled me in a French school so that I don't just sit at home and watch TV. So I used that period to build my language skills, my French language skills, and it was a really good experience. But did it make an added advantage to my application? No. So because there were a lot of people from Iraq, Iran, pardon me, Pakistan, and other countries who could only speak their own local language, and they came on board. So I wouldn't. It's not necessary. So just stick to your English and focus on your IELTS.
On IELTS. Okay. That's good to know. So who is eligible for this scholarship?
So a graduate, anyone with a bachelor's degree or an HND, or that's an higher diploma with a postgraduate diploma, but anyone with a any university education is eligible to apply, and you have the motivation, you are passionate about that particular course, you can tell your story, and you have basics in that field. So when I say basics, it doesn't mean that you have to have done vaccinology in school, no. But at least if you're applying for a science course, for example, I want to do nanotechnology, I have to have done it. I mean, physics, fair enough, or at least maths. So you
Yeah.
do that. And one of the things that some programs also encourage, they also do an online test before the interview. So, but during the online, yes, like my course, I did an online test. So they test your basic knowledge of biology, your cell biology, a little bit of immunology, and a couple of. I recall I had to write the test. I was a bit shaky. I was unsure if I was going to pass it. So and
Yeah,
I
is
did.
it an oral test or a written test?
So there is an oral. They are both. You do interviews and oral. So oral first. Sorry, not oral first. Written first, and the written first will be part of after you submit your application. You get an email that, oh, congratulations, now we are moving you to the next level. Do a written test. So you do a written test. They give you a background of what the test is about, and you have a stipulated time. So as soon as you click start and you have a particular period, you do the test. So you have to sit down, be focused with a glass of juice, and get to do it, write it, and then you move to the next stage if you pass it. And the next stage involves an interview with a panel of professors. That's the faculty for that particular program you're interested in. Yeah. I should also mention something beautiful about the Erasmus is that you get it's multiverse. Apart from traveling around countries, you get to not only learn the books, you also learn the culture. So you can thrive anywhere. So when it's a multiverse and people with different opinions, people with different cultures, you can balance well and be able to conform to any society easily.
Wow. That's interesting. So you have been through the process. What do you think are the do's and don'ts during the application?
Do's and don'ts, be honest. Don't lie. They'll see it. So be very honest. The do's, one of the other deals about being honest is also you are able to tell your story in the personal statement. So you don't copy online person. They will know there's plagiarism. So don't copy. I think one thing in African culture is we get to, because we read, we cram exams, we have a lot of materials, few days to
Yeah.
exam. I don't think that's obtainable in Ghana, but in Nigeria, I recall we have a lot of material, a lot of notes, we call it handouts, and you have to like cram
Yeah,
it.
it's not in Ghana.
It's like that in Ghana.
Yeah, it's like that in Ghana.
And you realize that as soon as you're done with the exam, you drop your pen and say, "Hey, I'm done." You ask me what is that course again? People have forgotten. So as much as possible, revise, preview, whatever course you want to do, try and read the basics. That's the do's. Really go back to your schoolwork. It's not a shame to go back and read as tiny as what is a cell to ensure that you build your knowledge. But now you're no longer under pressure of passing, of having an A. So now you're under pressure of either building a career in that field. So don't feel shy to just go back in your free time to just be reading in line with that course of choice that you want to focus on. So those are the do's. The don't is He's
So Stephen already mentioned don't copy. I think
don't
that's what you mentioned. Yeah.
please don't copy. It's very extremely important. Tell your story. Everyone has a fantastic story, and if your story doesn't, if they don't buy your story, that's not the end of the world. There are several
Yeah.
scholarships globally that you can explore. So if you don't get Erasmus, there are all specific schools with specific scholarship in US, in Iceland, and I've seen a lot of people come on Tisha's channel to speak about different funding. So
Yeah.
don't. It's not. Remember, it's never a do or die affair. It's like it's
Take
rather,
it easy.
what you say.
Yeah, I said it's not a do or die, so we should take it easy.
Yes, there are options and there are
Yeah,
options. It
yeah,
might be
we have
tough.
to take it easy.
Yes, it might be tough because rejection is not easy.
Yeah,
However, if you have the right mentors and you have a channel such as this one and you listen to people, you reach out to them. If you have questions, you will get one, and you will get the best that you really deserve.
yeah, yeah. So take it easy, guys. Okay, so Christiana, when you get accepted into a program, is it automatic that you are going to get a scholarship, or you have to apply for the scholarship separately?
Okay, so when you get for the Erasmus, there will be
Yeah.
a place where you would say, "Oh, I want scholarship," or automatically everyone is considered, depending on the program. Everyone is
Okay.
considered for the scholarship automatically. For my program, everyone is because we're well funded. Also, for my program, we also had GSK, Sanofi. I think people got funded. People that didn't get from the Erasmus the main Erasmus scholarship, got from Sanofi, got from pharma companies who were interested in building vaccinologists, future vaccinologists. So, which we have now to train the next generation of vaccinologists. So they made scholarships available. So everybody was considered for that scholarship. I mean, generally for the Erasmus. So that's how it is when you're filling the form. They ask question, do you want to be considered for scholarship? Yes. Some they don't ask you. Automatically you were considered.
Oh,
However, so when they have a specific number of people for each year. So for my set, I think we were 23. Yes, I believe we were 23. So they will ask questions. Do you want to fund yourself, self-pay yourself? That, oh, you are qualified for the program, not for the scholarship, but do you want to apply as a self-funder? That's fund yourself, was the self-funding. If the person is willing, the person could just go ahead and say, "Oh yes, I can fund myself," or
I'm
"Yes, I'm
right.
not." Right. So, or I'm going to explore maybe individual or organization scholarship in your home country that are willing also to build
Oh,
the
okay.
next generation of scientists. So there were people that explore there. So for people that they didn't get the Erasmus, they got interviewed by the pharmaceutical companies themselves, like Sanofi and other organizations, to speak to them and understand what they are doing and if their passion aligns with the goals of the program as well as the goals of building the next generation vaccinologists, and they automatically got funding. So yes, it's automatic, but for some programs I understand that you have to tick. They'll ask you the question, do you want to be if you do not get the scholarship, do you want to be considered for self-funding? Yes. So you can take yes at that time and start exploring opportunities. So when you take yes, maybe you cannot ask them, are there programs, are there companies who are willing to explore
Right.
funding students? But yes, automatically you're funded. Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. So we encourage viewers to send in their questions. Yeah. Christiana is really loaded, and then yeah, she generously want to share with us. So please send us your questions. So Christiana, what does the scholarship cover? What
Okay,
expenses?
hold on. I think like I said it's prestigious. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a scholarship that makes you comfortable. So you get to before you when you arrive your what's it called, your departure, your flight fees, your departure and arrival fees is paid for. So
Wow.
yes, so you get your flight money, and but you won't get it until when you arrive the program, not when you are still in your own country. Oh, you don't tell
Okay.
them that,
Yeah.
"Oh, I changed my mind. I'm going to Stanford. I'm going to Yale." So, you got away with money. So you show up in Spain or wherever the orientation is, and you go through the opening of bank accounts, and automatically you get funded. And every month you also get a stipend of a stipend, €1,000 to support you while you're in school. I think one of the reasons why they're doing this is to make sure that you're focused. And for example, my course was really very demanding. I recall in France when we had remember I had to wake up
I remember, yeah.
at Saint Etienne to go to Saint Etienne for lectures very early in the morning, and it was snowing. It was winter period. It was snowing heavily in France, and I can't imagine as a student coming back to come and work. I know, and you have.
So I was going to ask you if Erasmus students are allowed to work.
So I think people that are on full funding are not allowed to work because the curriculum, yes. But people that are not, I think there's a way they can talk to their coordinator and get to work. Yes, they are allowed, but if you are funded, the individual coordinators kind of decide. For my own program, we were not allowed to work, and even the program was fully packed that you do not have time to work. So it's it's tricky. It's tricky. You might desire to work, like I would have loved to work, but there's
no time.
There's no time. There's really no time. So it's really tricky. So I would say if you get a scholarship, you have the funding is affordable. It makes you comfortable. You can pay for accommodation, you can pay for feeding from it, and you can also pay for the bus ticket. As students, we get cheaper bus ticket fees, and we also get cheaper accommodation if you stay in the student accommodation. I think for France it was like that. For Spain, and for me, I think it was a bit expensive. But Barcelona itself, it's an expensive city because of the attraction for tourists. So yes, the €1,000, it's believe me, it's comfortable, and I could save from it. I mean,
it's cool.
Stayed in France. A student €1,000 is a big deal.
So Christiana, we have someone asking. I think you've mentioned already, but if you could quickly answer the person, what are the requirements for obtaining the scholarships? This is coming from Solomon Ajiman. What are the requirements for obtaining the scholarship?
Okay. Great question, Solomon. We've taken it. You joined late. So welcome on board, Solomon. So the first thing is go to your site, go to the program you're interested in, go to the Erasmus website, EACEA. I'll drop it right before the end of this program. Check it out. Click on the program, find out what are the specific requirements, because what I'm going to be sharing are just general requirements, but they are specific requirements. And the general requirements is IELTS, get it, write it, read for it, check online for online materials, YouTube videos. I think J video is a good one to watch for IELTS. It really helped me. And I could share some other IELTS materials that will help you. That's number one. Number two is also your certificate and your transcript. So if your school is like my school, that it takes a long time, my bachelor's rather, that it takes a long time to obtain transcripts, start working on it immediately. Get your transcripts, get your certificates, get references, speak to professors, and ensure you tell them on time, because African professors are always super busy. So you get their commitment on time to give references. If they can write a program-specific reference, that would be great. If not, let them write a general reference, because if you keep going back to them, they could get a little bit frustrated. You know the way African professors can be due to their busy schedule, their tight schedule. So to better it, you can just do to whom it may concern, because that's what I did, because I didn't want to keep going back to my professors. So I had a general reference, and they sent directly. Some schools you have to send directly. For my program, the professor have to send directly to the school, and he did that and he shared that. So I think get 2 or 3 professors, get 3 professors or 4. So if one doesn't respond, you can end up with the other. So it won't be too much. Then what else you need to do? You need to also ensure that you have a good personal statement. That is the key thing. How to sell yourself, how to say, I am passionate about this program. I am super motivated to be the best world vaccinologist, which is what I am doing right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that is very important. And how to tell your story and be honest, be sincere, be consistent, and I'm sure you will get it. So, and ensure you read online of examples of SOPs. Don't copy. Just read of examples of winning SOPs. Avail yourself of every opportunity to reach out to people who are already there, who have already obtained that scholarship you are aiming for. Like I earlier mentioned, teacher
Yeah.
has brought a lot of people on this platform that have spoken about different scholarships. So you can reach out to anybody to review your personal statements or chat up people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good platform. I've reached out to a lot of people on LinkedIn that I didn't know about, advice, career counsel. And if you see that that person has that scholarship or that master program that you're aiming for, reach out to them. If they don't respond, reach out to another person. So there's opportunity globally with the internet, with this global age. So explore it, Solomon. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, I'm sure he is satisfied. Thank you, Solomon Ajiman, and I'm sure your questions have been well answered by Christiana. Yeah, so Christy,
Yeah.
as you already said, with the Erasmus program, you travel from country to country. So at the end of the program, which of the universities award you with the scholarships, or do you get 5 different scholarships or 4 different scholarships?
I get that question a lot. Thanks, Tisha. So, each university actually issued a certificate to us. That's in Spain.
Mm,
It was a collaborative work between University of Barcelona, Autonomous University of Barcelona, and also us an hospital that we had to do some clinical work in immunopathology and autoimmune diseases. And for us, Autonomous University of Barcelona would issue the certificate. So they have issued it. However, we have yet to obtain that certificate. And that's because the King of Spain has to sign on your certificate. So
wow,
she signs on
that's
that.
so cool.
Yearly, and I signs on that yearly. So we are yet to we're yet to receive that. For Belgium, we obtained a certificate in Masters in International Vaccinology. So each university had its focus. In Spain, we focus more on advanced immunology for us to understand how the system works. What immune response with the vaccine would you experience when you are vaccinated? How the body immune system generally reacts to vaccines. So that's immunology, and that's what we did for the in Spain. So in Belgium, it was more like interactions with pharma companies like GlaxoSmithKline, getting getting an insight into what happens in the vaccine space in the pharmaceutical companies. So different focus, and that's why each school has to issue different certificates. For my program, it's 3 certificates. So that's French, Belgium, and Spain.
Wow.
However, for some programs, it's only one. I know for my colleague in the masters in global education in global education policy. I can't remember the full name. Pardon me, Globed. It's only one school. That Autonomous University of Barcelona issued that certificate because that was the focus school. So yes, but my program is majorly that. But however, most of us use the Belgium certificates basically because it encompasses everything we have done in the past few years. So there's no confusion about it.
Okay, so that's quite different from my experience. I think you remember in France, my program was organized by 3 different universities, but at the end of the program, we had only one certificate, but with the names of the 3 universities on the certificate. So it's a bit different from.
It's a bit different, yeah. But I think for that global I talked about and a couple of other programs I've heard about Erasmus, a lot of people got that kind of certificate. So they put the logo of Malta, Amsterdam, and the rest of them on the logo, on the certificates. So you can see that, oh, it's a coalition of universities issuing the certificate, which for me, I think it's really nice. It's really great. So they also have one transcript rather than multiple transcripts. So it's a bit tricky.
Yeah.
It's really a
Yeah.
bit tricky, to be very honest. It's a bit tricky, but more importantly, it gives you an opportunity to just say, oh, I went to this school, I went, and this is what I have to show
Mhm.
for it. There's
Yeah,
no
of course.
certificates. Yes,
Yeah, there should be something to show for all the schools because you can't say you studied here if you don't have anything to show for it, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So we have Colin Sasuman saying good job.
Oh, thank you, Colin. And thank you, Solomon. I'm happy you got the explanation. Good one.
Yeah. So Christiana, what's the how different is the education system in Nigeria as compared to that in I mean I know Nigeria is a country and I'm saying Europe because you studied in different European countries, right? So how
Yeah.
different is the education system?
Um, Also, there's a huge difference. There's a big difference in terms of interaction with professors. So, firstly, there's no in African system, in Nigerian system, to be more specific, which is what I was exposed to in my bachelor's.
Yeah.
There's this. There's no ease of interaction and ease of access between you and the professors, except you are maybe one of their best students. Yes, maybe, and even if you're one of their best students, there's still this kind of hierarchy. But in Europe, you can just call them by their first name. So I don't have to say Professor. You can just say Hilda, I'm not comfortable with this, and she agrees with you, she's not comfortable. And can you give another example? And after the lectures, you can always walk up to them and have like a short conversation. I remember in advanced immunology,
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with some courses. So I had to speak with one of my professors, Dolores, and a couple of others, and they really helped me in ensuring that I made the good grades I desired so much in Spain. So there's a strong collaboration between students and professors compared to here in Nigeria, where accessing your professor's office is like, what do you want? How may I help you? Like, but
Yeah.
you can even just send an email. Hey, can I see you after class? Even you don't even need to send an email to meet the person after class, except she has another class immediately, and he or she doesn't have another class. They'll take out time to explain to you, to speak to you, and they should also guide you, provide career guidance. So I'll be more specific. I was more so in vaccinology is really wide, and there's the regulatory aspect, there's the clinical trials, there's the bench work where you talk about vaccine design and vaccine development. And personally, I think I told you then, Leticia, I wanted public health.
Yeah.
I just told myself I wanted public health. I just knew it's bench work is lovely. It's nice to have that experience and to work on it, but it's not just my thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
have a professor, Stephen Paul, who practically took it as an assignment to ensure that that passion in me grows. And
Bless
it's
him.
wonderful. And compared to Nigeria, everybody just wants you to pass. Everybody just wants to. Nobody's
Yeah.
really interested in life after school, and I think that's something that is missing in our educational system. So when people are interested in life after school, there's a way you read differently. There's a way you see that course differently, and I would say that's one of the reasons why I'm super passionate about this vaccines field.
Yeah. Well, so with the education system, I think in Africa, there's more room for improvement, right?
Yes, there's a whole lot. Maybe we can use this opportunity to talk to our African professors that
Mm-hmm.
they need to I think it's only one or two professors in my university that was really interested in life after school. I recall there's a Professor Oshonuga, and he would sit us down and would say, some of you will be medical representatives, so you need to learn presentation skills. You need to
Yeah.
know how to make good slides. And he would take us through some process of presenting and critique us greatly in class. And for me, that is important. But it's
Yeah.
very a lot of people just want you to read. A lot of professors just they're not even concerned if you pass or fail their particular course. I think the more students that fail the course, I stand to be corrected. But the more students fail a particular course in Nigeria, the more excited the lecturers are. That,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow,
I think it's the same in Ghana. So it's an African thing.
it's an African thing, and I think it's
Yeah.
wrong. I think the more students fail your course, the more you need to look inwards as a professor and review your strategy, your
Yeah.
teaching strategy, your connection with the students,
Yeah.
their attention level, and begin to address things individually if possible. But unfortunately, we also have a large crowd in class where we don't have that kind of 20 students or 23 students or 15 students in the class. We have that 100, 200, some classes 500. So I
Yeah.
understand if they
True.
cannot tailor it, but as
Yeah.
well as they cannot tailor it, if the lecturer makes an open conference or an open discussion to find out, to have continuous interaction with different students in the class to understand what is wrong, why did you fail, and that would help the system to be better and people become more passionate. So I don't get to study physics and end up in a bank as a customer service officer. Because if I
Yeah.
studied physics and my lecturer was particularly interested in what I'm doing,
What you
and
are
I was
doing.
passionate about physics, I would want to be the next Michael Faraday. So I think there's a lot of work. There's a whole lot of work.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I agree with you, Christiana, because I have a younger cousin who is super brilliant, and she's 12 years old, and already she's thinking of what she wants to do in future, and she has people in her school. I mean, she's in the UK, and she has people in her school guiding her. Already, she's 12 years old, and today she sent me a powerful presentation telling me what she wants to do, and then she did some research about what she wants to do, explaining to me. I mean, I was so impressed, explaining to me, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is what it is about, and this is what I have to do before I get there. I have to study for this number of years. I was so impressed. I was
wow.
telling her that when I was her age, I didn't know what research was. you know, I didn't know, you see, but at her age, she's in the UK here, and she's already behaving like she's in the university,
Mm.
you
That's all.
see.
That brings us to the point of guidance,
Yeah.
appropriate guidance. I think we talk about the system, the educational system failing the people, and I think it's not only the government failing us; it's also the people. What are you doing? What are the lecturers, the people students look up to? And what are they doing to ensure that that passion of science doesn't die, that passion of law, whatever field they are focused on? And for me, I would say that it's very important. If we happen to see any professor who picks up this video or click on this video, to please look inwards
Yes, we beg them.
and please
We need
ensure that
them.
you can say, oh, this student, they just have lackadaisical attitude. They don't want to read. They don't want to. That's what we hear. But the truth is, they want to read. But if I see that I put an effort in this, and the lecturer is actually interested in me passing, and by
Yeah.
the time you're entering a course and you're in 200 level, and you already hear that this semester or this exam you're writing, the number of people that are joining you for that exam are more than the number of students in that current class. I mean, the number of people receiving the exam, that's enough. That's enough. That will destabilize you as a student, because you ask
Yeah.
yourself, what is different between me and the other students that made them to fail? That means my possibility of failing is high. So there's a whole lot of issues, a whole lot of issues that if we go
That
on
needs to be
about the
tackled. Yeah.
system, I think there's a whole lot to be done. However, I would say explore that opportunity, get that international exposure where you get to collaborate with teachers, with lecturers, with professors on the same level, without hierarchy, without insults, without the derogatory statements, and and that's what you get from studying abroad.
Yeah, and I think that those of us who have gotten the opportunity to study abroad, to learn about how different the things are, when we go back home, we should make sure that it doesn't end. Whatever experience that we learned, we implement it wherever we find ourselves. If we find ourselves in the education sectors, we have to make sure that we make the changes that we wish, the things that we wish we had, or the experience that we wish we had when we were growing up. We make sure that we make those changes for the younger ones then. Okay. So Solomon is asking again, please, may I know if the person completes schooling, will he or she get employment there?
Yes. Yeah. Good question. Solomon, you've been asking very interesting questions. Yes, you definitely get employment there. But how do you get employment? So for Erasmus, some European countries give you a platform to stay back and study. I know for France, we get to stay back, right, Leticia? As students, we can stay back and work. Netherlands, I'm sure Netherlands. So even though you didn't study, one of my track programs was not Netherlands. So I was able to, you can actually apply to the Netherlands, to the Dutch Immigration Service as an Erasmus alumni, as an Erasmus student, and say, hey, I finished, and they give you the Dutch work search year visa. I've forgotten the name they call it, but it's a 1-year visa for you to search and stabilize. And once you get a job, they convert that visa for you to stabilize. So there's a whole lot of opportunities for you. So the main thing of getting a job is not about getting a job, it's about getting the visa first. So so with France, you get a visa. With the UK now, if your track program is one of the UK, I don't know how it's going on with Erasmus and Brexit right now, but I think there's still a bilateral agreement. I need to double check that. And you can get a work visa afterwards with the new post 3 years work authorization if it's if one of your schools is in the UK. For what's it called? For other schools, Norway, other countries rather, you can also get work visa. So what you can do is, if you're interested in getting a job, start applying, start networking, start going for conferences, if you like a professor who's field, I identified a lot of professors I liked so much. I recall Karen, University of Antwerp, Karen Doche. She worked on NESI, that's a network of expanding immunization programs, something like a public health. And I liked what she was doing about public health. That's reaching out to Africa and increasing immunization coverage. That's ensuring that immunization coverage in, I think, South Africa and some other African countries. I can't remember them, but you can reach out to them. There are people that will come to class and teach you. So don't just sit down in class and be that good student. You are there to not only learn, we are also there to also network.
Which is very important.
Extremely important. It's not only the brilliance that get the job, but the brilliance and also the smartest. So being smart also involve networking. So you network, meet up, discuss with them after class, hit them an email. I like what you taught today. Here are my plans. How best can you advise me? I can tell you, even till now in my career, I still reach out to a couple of professors that give me guidance on my work, on how best to navigate it. And so network is very important. So when you identify these people, you reach out to them. Oh, now can I get a research assistant position with you while I try to figure out if I want to do a PhD, if I want to go back home. And they would definitely, they have an opportunity, and considering the fact that they've taught you in class and they know the stuff of what your program is made up of, they would definitely give you an opportunity to work with them. So don't just sit down in class like Nigeria where you just read, or Africa.
You need to
network. You need to network. You need to take that bold step. You need to send that email. Talk about what you like about them in the class. If you like the professor, you like what they're doing. So I was more attracted to people in the public health space that talked about vaccine hesitancy, people that came from Gavi to talk about what they were doing in Gavi, which is also in terms of vaccine public health. people in the pharmaceutical industry. I was more interested, so I networked with them. So for my program, we had collaboration. We took lectures and did projects with GlaxoSmithKline, Sanofi in France. Remember when I was going to Sanofi? Remember I told you then. I don't know if you recall, the Leticia. So
I don't remember.
you can't remember. So Borinja Engineering, MEC. So Erasmus comes with a lot of partners. So you get exposed to a whole lot of people. So what is left for you is just they've given you the platform, leverage on it.
Yeah. Christy, thank you
Yeah.
so much. We have Stephen Opoku saying very helpful program. Keep it up.
Thank you, Stephen.
And Solomon again saying very encouraging. Okay, so Christian, as an international student in Europe, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome these challenges?
A whole lot of challenges, a whole lot. I think I would take the general one. First of all, when you're in Spain, I was in Barcelona. They don't speak Spanish; they speak Catalonia, and Catalonia is another language. So even though the school is teaching you Spanish, you are on the road hearing Catalonia. And for me, it's not. It's about, even though there are very few people that speak English. It was a bit so we. I recall my Nigerian colleague Laura Chine and I would have to go to the market, and we'll have to check Google and to check for the meaning of some words, and with our classes, with our little language classes that we've done in Spanish, to be able to translate some of the things we see in the grocery stores that we're not used to back home. So that was one. That was one challenge, but it was a good challenge. It wasn't a bad challenge because it stimulates you to want to know more. It increases your curiosity. The other challenges I faced is it's a different work culture, different studying environment. So acclimatizing to the kind of reading culture. Immunology was a lot. It was overwhelming. We did as we're studying back to back. We're taking lectures back to back, and every week we had to write exams, and some of them were MCQs, and they were not theory focused. So it was, for me, it was battling, trying to understand. I did MCQs in school, but it was more of theory. So how to ensure that is it that you know it or you don't know it. There's no trick about MCQs. so so I had to pay more attention to my studies. So I miss out like a receptor stream 3. I know it's stream 3, but they are stream 3, stream 4, stream 3, LR1, stream 3, and you just have to be more specific. So you have to take out time to really, really study. So for me, it was a different approach. It was a different approach of studying. So you have to take out more time to study. So it was really challenging for some of us from Africa. It was a different study environment that we needed to acclimatize to as fast as possible because we were moving at a very, very fast pace. The other challenge I recall also is also living with people. Oh my God, you are African. So I love cooking if there's a large group, but if I'm alone, I don't like cooking. So Leticia, I'm sure you know. So I don't like cooking, and if I'm cooking, it's just maybe jollof rice for the week. Put it in the fridge. And so for me, I had to stay with a colleague of mine, a classmate, and she was from another region. So, and Spanish hostels, the UAB hostels was like 2 in 1. So I had to stay with her. She was really different. So it was really different for me. Staying with people could be, you need to be very sensitive. You need to ensure that there's a mood. They're comfortable while you're also comfortable.
Exactly.
So I think for me that was one key challenge I faced, and that period where I had to stay, I had a little bit of challenges because our friends were not used to a black lady, and I overheard conversations that were not comfortable. That were not comfortable with me. Like, oh, what does she cook? Does it affect you? And this kind of thing, this kind of statements. For me, it was shocking, but
Yeah, I understand.
It makes you grow. It makes you grow. So it's what it did to me was just to see life in another perspective. So and yeah, it's so those are some of the challenges that you get to face. Then bus tickets. You need to. I remember I left my bus tickets at home in France. And you
Mhm.
asked me, that I have student pass. And
Yes.
I was trying to explain I have my student pass. And the guy was speaking French. And I was like, I don't speak French as much as you do. My French is no, Letitia, you know the way our French is. And it's not like the French. And it was like, oh, it was his colleague like in French that she's pretending. Eh?
Mm.
So those are some of the challenges, and I was like, is there no system that can show you that I have a student pass or something? And that was the last time I bought that student pass. I never bought it again. I always buy the normal €1.50
Yes.
single pass because I didn't like that experience, and I had to pay a fine of I can't recall the fine for that particular ticket. So it's those are really there are challenges that get to build you as you start life in a new environment in a new system. Yes, so that's it.
Interesting. So, Christiana, with all these experiences, okay, how has your life been? I mean, how has all these experiences influenced your way of life?
So I don't get to judge people as easily. I don't get to ask sensitive questions like Africans do ask sensitive questions. I won't ask you if you're in a relationship. I won't ask you, are you married? I won't
Yes.
ask you, when are you getting married? I
Mm.
won't ask you if you're married. Oh, you're married. Do you have a baby? No, those are insensitive questions
Yeah.
because you don't know what the mental state of that person is.
Mhm.
So let the person build a relationship with the person and let the person talk about it on their own, at their own comfort. If you choose to share yours, that's your business. But
Yeah.
don't ask sensitive questions. So I don't get to judge people. I don't get to I keep an open mind about everyone. I'm an opinionated, like an African woman, strong, independent African woman that I am. I'm opinionated. I have my opinions, but I wouldn't ask some insensitive questions except we have a strong relationship. And that has changed my way of life. And also it has also helped me to also know how to work in a multiverse environment, in a diverse environment. So
Mhm.
you can get to, yes, so you get to know. So that's one thing about living in different cultures and getting exposure to different people from different regions. And
Yeah.
in the country itself is a different country. Then people you have in your class came from different environment, Vietnam, China, Pakistan, different part of the world, Canada, and you get to work with them and you get to work on different projects with them. You get to see different perspectives, and you get to be there to learn, to improve, to not be biased, and to be open-minded in taking everyone. I mean, in Nigeria, for example, being homosexual is unaccepted. And I remember I had a close friend that we talked together about immunology in my class, and the day he told me in Spain, and he said, "Christina, we're close, and I know your culture is different, but I'm
Mhm. Yeah.
gay." I said, "Yeah, you're gay," but it was almost towards the end of Spain, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't stop you from being my friend.
Mm.
And my where I come from, it's not acceptable, but it is who you are. I
Mhm.
accept you the way you are. So accepting people the way they are without judging them, and
Yeah.
um, and I can tell you, he's one of the brilliant people I've met in the world, and you
Mhm.
can't judge him. And I'm looking forward for him doing great things in the field of vaccine development. So it's not it's about accepting people the way they are. That's one key thing that it has changed my perspective. Yeah.
Christiana, we could sit here the whole day talking about the experiences because I'm sure there are so many. But
Enola.
then, time. I'm sure I would have to invite you here again.
I
I
think
mean,
we
to
have
give
a
us.
question. I think we have a
Sorry.
question. I think we have a question we might have missed out.
Um.
Do we still have time from Solomon?
Solomon said very encouraging.
No,
I
he
think
said, may I know if the person completes schooling, will he or her get employment here?
yeah, I think you've answered that already.
Okay, okay, great. Okay, great.
Yeah, you've answered that already.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Have I that say very nice program? Okay. Yeah. So, Christy, what would be your final words to our viewers? I mean, for students who are still in their undergraduates or those who have completed and are looking forward to starting a master's program, maybe with the Erasmus program or maybe anywhere in Europe. What would be your final words to such people?
My final words will be don't give up. Rejection is not the end of the world, rather, is the beginning of success.
Mm.
Pursue that dream. If you want to travel around the world and you are in that small village and it looks far-fetched, believe me, it's not far-fetched. It's close by. Just keep working at it, step by step, and plan, strategize, make use of the internet, reach out to people as much as possible that are in line with your field, in line with your dreams, in line with your goals. And the sky is not just your limit, it's just your starting point.
Wow. The sky is just not your limit, but it is your starting point. Thank you so much, Christian. I know you are very, very busy, but you've made time to share your experiences, challenges, and a whole lot with our viewers. And I really do appreciate this. I know hopefully you'll come back again to share what you are doing, the vaccine stuffs. Yeah, to share some of those wonderful things with us. So, viewers, this brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please do share with your friends who are interested in studying abroad. And see you same time next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.